tree. Clap your hands and dance with me. Whoa, cottonwood tree. Clap your hands and dance with me. I love harvesting cottonwood buds on a nice, crisp, late winter day. The cottonwood buds are swelling. You can see they're ready to be harvested. Their scent, their aroma is on the air. You can smell them wherever you go. They love to grow along waterways, so we came out today to be along Lake Michigan so we could harvest the cottonwood buds. Cottonwood contains salicin, which is a compound that was originally extracted from willow to make aspirin. So cottonwood has the same quality, pain relieving qualities as willow as aspirin. So we can either apply it topically, make oils and salves and lotions, or we can also take it internally for the same purposes. The resin in the plant also contains um, antiseptic and antibacterial qualities that we like to put in our soap. And so I make a wonderful soap that smells really good and also is antiseptic and antibacterial. This plant is quite resinous, and if you take a look at my hand, you can see I'm starting to develop some resin on my hand. And when I finish picking, I'll probably have a nice layer that I'll be able to smell throughout the day. And I just love the smell of cottonwood. You can smell it on the wind wherever you go. So I'm starting to fill my jar. It'll take a little while, but you can see I'll fill the jar and I'll put some oil on top of this. And I usually like to let this sit for about 6 months. Medicine making. We're back in the kitchen and we're actually going to make a cottonwood infused oil. We harvested cottonwood buds and we have a jar full here. And we have some options for different things we can do with the cottonwood buds once we've harvested them. Sometimes I'll pour alcohol on top of them and I will make an alcohol tincture that I use both topically and internally. And when I use alcohol, I usually use a fairly high percentage of alcohol for extracting the resin. When I use the olive oil, I usually let it steep for about 6 months so that the oil will extract the medicines and the resins. And it's really interesting because if you let it steep for a shorter period of time, it may not extract as well. Some people will actually heat the olive oil with the buds in it on a low temperature. And I really don't like to do that because it actually promotes rancidity, the fluctuation in temperature. So I'd rather let it sit. The resin actually helps to preserve it, so it does last for a long time. The other thing we could do with it is we could put it in animal fat. With that, because the animal fat is solidified, you do need to warm the buds with the fat, and we usually do make a little bit of that every year. It doesn't quite last as long as the olive oil, and when I make a salve or a cream and I mix the olive oil with beeswax, it actually preserves it and keeps it for a very long time. So right now I'm going to pour the oil on top and put the lid on and then label the preparation. And I'll check it periodically. This will actually often bubble over a little bit, so I'll put a bowl underneath it as I let it sit. And I did leave some room here in the jar as well for bubbling over. So I think I'll go ahead and pour the olive oil on top and you can watch that process. It's really fun because the buds seem to actually drink up the olive oil and absorb it. And usually after I've done this, I'll check it in a day or two, and a lot of times it will have settled, and then I will pour more olive oil on top. I really like what Susan Weed says about that. She says the fairies come along and take a sip. Put the lid on top. I'll go get a label. I'll put the date and the name of the plant, and I'll be able to check it again, like in the next couple days, and then again in 6 months I'll strain it. So there you have infused cottonwood oil.